Welcome to the Ascended Thread podcast, higher guidance woven into everyday life and healing. I'm Andrea Clem of The Way Home to You.
And I'm Dana Swazo with One Thread Healing.
And today we're going to talk about nature and rituals and how nature is always in ceremony. And as humans, I think we forgot to participate.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. What if our longing isn't for another course or another book or another spiritual practice, but just remembering ceremonies that our souls have always known, right?
Absolutely, right? Coming back to how it used to be, because our ancestors, they had many rituals, many ceremonies, and they truly lived with the rhythms of nature. Before we had clocks and calendars and all of that, they still knew when to plant their seeds and harvest and all of the things because they lived with the seasons of the earth.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. Because they didn't do the ceremonies because they were told to or because it was trendy, obviously. But
right.
they did it just to slow themselves down to notice life, which is what ceremonies do for us when we remember to do them.
Absolutely right, because they create intention and a ceremony doesn't have to be, and I want to start with this too. It doesn't have to be a religious thing or
Right.
some big to-do thing. It can be a quiet little thing that you do for yourself on a regular basis, and it's a way to bring, I think, peace and harmony and a little intention time into your day.
Right, right. Yeah, because ancient cultures honored everything like births, deaths, which our friend Colleen, who talked about being a death doula, that's one thing she talked about is back then it was a very honoring process. They honored the seasons, they honored harvest, the sun, the earth, the moon, everything. They honored fire. So yeah, it's just a practice that has been forgotten in some aspects. And I think, some of us are trying to bring those ceremonies back into play. And it's a way of being in community too, in my opinion.
Hmm. Absolutely, right. Even last night was the new moon here, and I had a group sound bath to honor the new moon and to set intentions for the upcoming, month or upcoming moon cycle. And it is a good time to kind of assess where you are and look at what you want and to set those intentions. And when we start to live with that kind of rhythm, I think our bodies become more in sync, our souls, our minds, all of it. Because, truth is, we are nature. We are part of nature. And I think a lot of times we feel disconnected to it. But we are just like we are an animal, we are a mammal, we are that. And to live in there, I think, is to remember part of who we are.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a good point because I think we live in a world where we celebrate productivity, unfortunately. So we're always go, achieve, buy, consume, rinse and repeat. I say that a lot. I feel like I'm doing rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
And our nervous systems just weren't designed for that constant acceleration. So ceremony gives us permission to pause. Yeah.
Absolutely. And ceremony could be around many different things, like the moon cycles
Right.
and it doesn't have to be just the new moon or the full moon. All the different cycles have meaning behind them and
Mhm.
might align with good times to do things. Like you talked about the seasons, the equinoxes, the solstices. Our bodies, I think, are our actual like natural rhythm wants to go with those cycles. In winter, it wants to slow down, it wants to rest. In spring, we start to come alive again and there's growth, things like that. So if we start to tune in, um, it could maybe change everything.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. And even things like the Lionsgate portal that's coming up, 888, there's different times to that you can do ceremonies. So yeah, and um, like the full moons, that's the time to release, and the new moons is the time to bring in what you want to bring in. And so it's also us creating like what's our intention for that ceremony. And it could be something as simple as you do breath work during
Mhm.
the ceremony, you pull oracle cards, you do, a combination of that or sound bath, whatever, and I think it just allows us to just, like we said, just remember, just it's a time for remembering who we are.
Hmm. And you could even pull it into the everyday, like maybe you take 5 minutes in the morning with your morning coffee or tea and write out
Mhm.
gratitude in your journal, or um, like lighting a candle before meditation. Just these little
Right,
things to signal to our brains, to signal to the body that this is a honoring time. This is a
right.
important time. Um, watching the sunrise if you get up early in the morning, or watching the sunset at night. It
Hmm.
really doesn't have to be grand, but it can be something where you're honoring yourself and honoring your nervous system too.
Right, right, right. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I believe you're doing a ceremony, aren't you, for the 888 portal coming up?
I am doing a Lion's Gate
Yeah.
ceremony where we're doing a sound bath and energy work, and really focusing on pulling in that abundance that abundance
Hmm.
that portal has during that time. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's kind of fun. And the more I've gotten into the sound healing and all of that, and done different ceremonies on different days that are important, learning about this stuff, because a lot of this stuff is relative to my life, new to me, because we aren't really taught about all these different sacred days and things like that. So it's really neat to do those kind of things. And like you said, it brings about community. It's so fun to
Mhm.
spend some time with people that want to be there and honor that day. So
Right, right. Yeah, because it is a powerful portal that, like, the common themes include courage, becoming more heart-centered, living in abundance, and while other people associate it with the alignment of Earth, the star Sirius, and the sun in Leo. Um, So yeah, and it's kind of fascinating because when you think about it, if you put the eight sideways, it's an infinity symbol. So I've always found the 888 portal a really like powerful time to be in ceremony. So that's great that you're offering that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that a lot. So
Yeah, I've done those too before, because because I work with Mary Magdalene energies a lot, and the Holy Family energies in general, and Mary Magdalene and Yeshua, like really have a connection to Sirius, and so it's like a really powerful time to bring them into for those kind of ceremonies. Yeah,
that's lovely.
those energies, I should say.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That is lovely. That's really
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah.
So yeah, finding anything honoring on special days is a good way to.
Hmm.
Other things that I think, just to bring us back into that nature thing, and I know we've said this on lots of podcasts of things to do, but grounding, going out in nature, putting your feet on the ground, because we don't do that very often. We always have our shoes on. And I think the stuff that are in those soles don't really connect us to all the benefits, as standing barefoot on the earth would. Uh,
Right,
it could just totally change, I think, like the whole electrical system of the body
right,
when we
exactly.
for a bit. So doing that, sitting down and sitting by your tree or hugging your tree, even enjoying the squirrels running around and the birds,
Yeah,
just remembering that we are a part of all of this.
right.
know, having appreciation for all that around us, a beautiful view behind you, you know, all of
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah. And
remembering,
as I'm out here, the hummingbirds are flying around and getting um, at the feeder. So it's nice to hear them just humming and buzzing, and which
right?
is kind of funny because um, there was a day my son and his girlfriend came over. So it's like you realize how like lost in, how out of touch with nature we get sometimes. Because my son and girlfriend, we're outside, and I said to my husband, like, where's the kids? And he's like, they're outside trying to figure out what that weird noise is. And I'm like, what weird noise? So then I go out there, and Caden's like, what is that noise? Like, what is that? And I'm like, you mean the hummingbirds? He's like, what's that weird humming, chirping sound? He's like, I can't figure it out. What's that buzzing noise? And I'm like, it's the hummingbird.
Yeah, how funny, right?
Yeah,
But
but I'm like, okay, I guess he just, maybe he hasn't been exposed to hummingbirds. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. But we are disconnected. I think we
Yeah,
don't notice, just don't even notice our surroundings, whether it's inside or outside most of the time.
right, right. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so get out there, everybody.
Yes.
Get there and see if it brightens your day. I know for me, going for a walk always does. And um after I hurt my knee about a year ago, I started sitting out on the deck every morning. That
Yeah.
made a big change for me too.
Mhm.
Just listening to the birds, um, sometimes watching the sun come up and just kind of chilling, watching the dog run around and play, and then come sit by me. And that's a wonderful way for me to start the morning.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I guess that's like a ritual that I've created for myself, and
Oh,
it
that's great.
do
Yeah.
believe it's really helped my mental health too.
Oh,
Not
well,
feeling,
that's great that you've observed that and noticed that. Yeah.
yes, yeah. So that's why I definitely try to tell people that a lot is get out in nature, go for a walk, put your feet on the earth, um, because it can change things. So,
Right, right. I know because when you think about it, our ancestors always used to gather around fires and they
mhm,
would look at the stars, which they could see the stars, nowadays with air pollution. Sometimes you can't always see them unless you go up in the mountains, but they would get, always gather at the fire and it was always a celebration. And, even if they just sat around the fire and talked
mhm,
and they would look at the stars or honor the moon or they would sing or dance or whatever, and they grieved together, they celebrated together. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So maybe it's time for us to find our own little tribes and
Yes.
coming coming together again.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
I know, because there is something, when you feel like you found your tribe, it really does feel very, very honoring and very good for the heart. Like, oh, I found my tribe, I find people I feel I can share with and, not feel judged and, and whether it's just hanging out and talking and yeah, having fun. It makes the heart feel better for sure.
It definitely does. It definitely does. So, and we're very blessed that we
Yeah,
have
right,
a tribe where we support each other and really care.
right.
So, yeah. Well, anything else you want to throw out there about this or?
Not that I can think of. Yeah. I mean, and maybe, people, maybe the invitation for homework for everyone who's
Hmm.
watching is just to go out and walk in nature and just observe and notice, like notice the little things. I, I know when I started, walking out in nature well, I didn't know I had intention, but I did, I was just like before you know it, you just realize like, oh, I'm just walking in flow. Like, oh, I'm just embodied, and you don't even realize until you do, and you
Yes.
might notice like the leaves are vibrating, like certain leaves are vibrating at a different level. And And I always just saw that as little nudges, like,
Mhm.
oh, thanks for letting me know you're around.
Yes. Yeah. That's so beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, that leaf is vibrating. The rest of the leaves are silent, but that one's vibrating. And I just feel like, oh, it's just, you know, the universe, nature, whatever you want to call it, just letting me know, like, hey, we're here. We're
Yep.
here for you.
This little hello, little confirmation.
Yes. And so I just invite everyone to start doing, when they walk out in nature, just notice, like, do you notice all of a sudden your mind is quiet and you are in flow and you're embodied? And then when you notice that, just notice the little things around you. Or, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's excellent homework. So
yeah.
everybody, please try that out. So
Right.
I am going to close with the message.
Okay.
Says, nature never asks us to be perfect. It simply invites us to participate. Every sunrise, every full moon, every changing season reminds us that life moves in cycles. There are seasons for growth, seasons for rest, seasons for letting go, and seasons for beginning again. We honor those rhythms, and when we honor those rhythms instead of resisting them, we often find ourselves feeling more grounded, more present, and more at home, both in the world around us and within ourselves. So
Very
let us
good.
know. Yeah, thank you. Know if anything in this resonated with you today and what kind of things you might consider bringing into your life. So, everybody, thanks for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we will be back soon with next one will be with a really great guest. So,
Yes.
yeah, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.